This is intake, this is Project Z, and this is what happens when you leave a beer in the freezer for too long. Oh, it pains me to drink that, it's beer slushy. 7-Eleven better not start stocking this one. Recently on Project Z, we installed a boost controller, and because of the extra boost, things are getting a little bit hot under the hood here. So what we have to do is just alleviate some of that heat problems, especially in the electronics of a near 30-year-old car. 300ZX has a PTU, power transistor module unit, something or other, doesn't matter what it is, that is on the front of the motor, and it basically acts like a massive heat sink. When that fucks up, the whole car shuts down. So what we're going to do today is remove that from the front of the motor down to the front of the car where it gets a bit more cool air. While we're doing that, we've got a couple of other bits and pieces to tidy up in the engine bay. Really just want to make it a nicer place to work. Oh, I can't drink that. It tastes like cat piss. I'm getting another one. This is fucked. This is how VB drinkers feel, I'm sure. Oh, that's so much better. Let's get into it. So because we're getting to the engine bay today, I've got my gloves on, extra grip from the beer. I'm guessing this is going to be about a 2-beer job. First thing we've got to do is just remove this intercooler pipe. Now I reckon I've removed these a few times now, so they're probably getting to the point where they need to be replaced because the ends of these do fuck up. Just going to put the beer over there where it's not going to spill. We've all been in that trap before. I know you guys love it when I'm spilling beers all over the shop, but you know, I pay for them and I really like to drink them. Yeah. Goes down that way. Bit of a... Oh, and who said it was hard to work on a 300ZX? So this is the PTU unit that we're going to move. So what we're going to do is trace these wires back underneath the other fucking pipes. Why can nothing be easy? All the way back to over here. Cut the tape out from where they are there. This is actually going to look quite neat when it's done. There's not going to be any wires here at all except for this. So we're going to cut out this tape. So it's quite obvious that I'm having a wild guess at what I'm doing here, but just, I guess the first thing I'm going to do is undo it from the timing case and see how much play I've got with the wiring. So it looks like it's about an 8 or 10 mil nut bolt. Just break that, they are an 8. I'm just using, I know I've got a socket kit right there, but I'm just seeing if I can get into them all. So the last thing I want to do is drop something into this engine bay. Although that said, they're 8 mils. Not 10s, and you only ever drop 10 mil things into an engine bay. The internet told me so. So this is sort of a project that anyone can do at home if you go to 300ZX, and really that's something that you should do, because from everything that I've read on the internet, and the internet never lies to me, these things are faulty as, and they always break, and when you're running 14 PSI every single day, things get a little bit hot. Which is why my little plasticky thing up here has gone shrinky dink. Wasn't like that last week. Hopefully this will be a hell of a lot easier to play with the engine after this, because less things in the centre of the bay is probably better. But anyway, yeah, I wonder where Sidekick Nick is today. I need that beer. Ugh. I'm already succumbing, word of the day, to the problems of working inside of this engine bay. I don't know why the Japanese people are so calm and collected all the time, because they drink beers like Sapporo, Asahi, and Kirin. Not VB, Melbourne. Angry beers, 4X, there's an angry beer for you. Drink some 4X and punch a few blokes down at the pub. And Japanese drink some Sapporo and just bow to each other. It's a great society. Accidentally hit someone in the mouth. You bow at them. I'm only on the 3rd fucking screw, and I've got one more to do. It's loose as. I can't even fucking turn it by hand. This is why people take these things out and put LS1s in there. Maybe I should put an LS1 in here. I could turbo that. I'm actually hurting my fucking knuckles through the gloves. Take back what I say about drinking Sapporo to make you calm and collected, because it's fucking driving me insane. Maybe they don't get the Japanese people to work on their own cars. Yes, and just like that, I've got one more to do. All right, This one's the worst one too because it's underneath the radiator hose. I know what you're thinking. Steve, just undo the radiator hose. Well, I don't know if you noticed last episode when the entire garage was full of water. Today's a nice day and I don't want it to be like that again. Look, don't let my frustration deter you from doing this job. This is probably the hardest part of it. And just like that, we're not fucking it off. We've removed the PTU unit from the front of our 300ZX's engine. Oh, I earned that. I can't help but feel that that is supposed to be earth. No, it's not an earth, it's just a clip for the cable. I can put this intercooler pipe back in. There you go. Just make sure that your intercooler pipes are done really tight. Unlike Nick's intercooler pipes when he installed the passenger side intercooler. It was loose and I had to go back and do it up when I did mine up as well. So the next part of the project is to pull this wiring loom out, and which means we have to take these plugs off. Now that one's easy. Now this one is one of those fucking little clippy ones where you pring it off and the wire goes everywhere. Oh, there's got to be, oh, I've just broken it, haven't I? Okay. This is going to be heaps cool because you're going to lose so much shit in here. I don't need any of this stuff. But what we're going to do is peel this back because this needs to go back to where we just undid those. But the best thing about this is, look, we get to get rid of all these clamps and really tidies it up in here. You should have seen the weight saving from all the shit we pulled out of the engine bay when we did the boost controller. I know you guys probably wanted to see that as an episode, but it just consisted of me lying underneath the car for about 3 hours yelling out, fuck. No one wanted to watch that. So what we're going to do is separate these two plugs from the rest of this loom. So if I get a knife just to cut a bit of tape here, what you don't want to cut the wire. You do that, you're pretty much fucked. You're done goofed. Right. Now, if you're doing this at home, for those of you playing along at home, make sure you've got heaps of electrical tape. This is like 4 layers of electrical tape. It's like they've gone, hey, we better protect this from heat, but we'll bolt it to the front of the motor anyway. Whoa. So I think that's where it's got to be peeled to. A job like this is very appealing. Okay, now, that's got to go like that. Look, that looks like it's got enough tape there to go that way. That looks like it's got enough there, nearly, to go that way. So if I put that there roughly, we can see what's got to get taped. It's hilarious how hot it is today compared to last episode. If you didn't see the last episode, that was episode 1 of our new project, Operation Sportswagon, which is also fun to say, and I'm allowed to say that because Nick's not here. A quick tip, before you wrap the entire thing up in tape, just do a couple of little bands to make sure everything fits and that it lays out the right way. So put another one in the middle here. We'll take that heat shrink off, we don't need that. It's already torn. The gloves have come off here. So yeah, check out Operation Sportswagon. It's our new project and we are going to build Subaru Outback to compete against the BRZ. It's going to be a better sports car than the BRZ. And if you're a fan of the BRZ, that's fine too, because not everyone can be awesome like I am. Team Outback. So anyway, put 2 little bands on there. We know this is going down here. This has got to, I wonder if I need more out of that. Anyway, we'll work that out later on. This is good. All you just don't cut your wires. It's not friggin' bomb diffusioning. Diffusioning? Not fusion bombs. Unless you're doing a fusion bomb, then you've got to diffusion it. This has like got 2 benefits really. Like, there's a cosmetic benefit of having a really neat engine bay. And then there's the benefit of the car running a little bit cooler. Now I'm going to take this intercooler pipe off here. I've taken my gloves off because it's hot. I know what people are thinking, like, why don't we do exciting projects? But sometimes you got to do the difficult projects. Next time we'll do something more exciting. We'll put some underglow neons on. Although I'm still convinced that this car's got some underglow neons hiding somewhere. So I've been told that I've got to cut this all the way back to this conduit. Anyone who ever doubted my hot tips, Nissan follows them. They put a band of tape there before they tape the entire thing up, proving that I know exactly what I'm talking about sometimes. So we have separated our wires to go to the water thingadoodles, to the crank angle sensor? Yeah, well, it's a cam angle sensor. I think that's not a camshaft. And to go to the PT unit, which is going to go down here underneath the car. So now that we've done that, oh man, that feels good. That's really long. That's what she said. You tape that like that, I guess, and that's going to go taped on its own down that way. So a little band of tape first, just another one there. And now we're ready to tape up this section. I might even get a chair for this. Never has working on a 300ZX's engine bay been so easy. Yep, this is so easy. Right, we'll fuck the chair off then. Just lean over and break my back. This is good too, it'll be nice and waterproof. We'll be able to hose the engine bay down without getting any electrical gremlins pop up, because you don't get those in a Nissan. You do in a BMW. Oh, never knew that taping something would be such hard work. I'm looking at the camera because he's taping something. Well, we don't use tapes anymore. I'm old school, whatever, taping. Well, I'll tell you what, it's a nice day. We're gonna have to go for a drive after this. Make sure we haven't stuffed anything up. Just see how many boosts we've got. We're so close, yet so far. All we've got to do after this is mount that PTU underneath the nose piece at the cold air intake section, because it's got to get cold air. This is dead set one of the easiest projects you can do that's going to have the best benefit to your car, to any car that sort of has this kind of control system. Sort of something that heats up. So the best part of this job is that the wires go exactly where they should have been prior to the job starting. So there's no need to make new mounts, there's no need to worry about them being hit by the engine fan. That's that. So now we're ready to remount this. Job's done. Into my first beer. Cracking jacking. Now if you're familiar with intake, you know that we have to get under here a lot, and we may as well just not even run that nose piece. But we continue to do so, and today's no exception. We've got to get into that to mount this PTU unit in its new home. A nice cool area. There's a couple of bolts underneath this steel plate, so first thing we're going to do is take this out. See, if I had a sidekick, an assistant if it were, I probably would have had this out already, because I would have had some help. But no, they're too busy doing their own thing. Rusty nuts that hold it in place. Nuts! Oh, every time. The big question is, how do you get the PTU unit through here? All right, and where does it go? So we've finished piss farting around with the wiring loom, and we're ready to run the PTU down to where it's going to live down here. And for that, we've got to unplug the PTU. And because these two plugs look near identical, oh no, they're not. They're not identical, fuck that idea. Hot tip, I was just gonna tape them up on one side so I knew when I broke the tape which one belonged to which. But these two little things are different lengths. So all I need to do, slide back those covers. You slide back your protective sheath. Really don't want to break this. I'm sick of breaking plugs on this fucking car. Oh. We're gonna clean those contacts as well. That is corroded as fuck. That's really bad. No wonder it's been misfiring. See, misfires when it's hot. We worked that out. The misfire has indeed been sorted. I ran a tank of like fuel cleaner shit through it. And that seemed to make it go until the car heated up and it came back again. It was definitely the injectors, not the coils and whatnot. So what we'll do is just give these contacts a bit of a clean, and also on the plug itself. So I'm just going to run it through this hole here. I mean, now, if anyone knows about getting things into tight places, or there's probably a joke in there, I can get that little protective cover in. Right, put that little protective cover over it. Put that down there. I can just see it. Oh, and just like that, we pulled the cable through to the front of the motor. It's time to put the PTU back on, but first we'll give it a clean. It improves the electrical properties. What I'm just going to do is just scratch off the surface corrosion. Look at that shit. It's like blowing out a Nintendo cartridge. Tastes about the same too. It actually tastes pretty sweet, that stuff. Sure, it's not from a Nissan Cherry. It's because the Nissan Cherry is another Nissan. They made in this, like, cherries are sweet. I'm just going to tape up this old plug because it's a little bit ordinary, and it is at the front of the car now, so get a bit more water and shit in there, which we don't want, because it's going to pretty much do the opposite of why we moved it down here. So give it a good old taping. And how's that? Working in the engine bay, I've skinned my knuckles. So we've rerouted the PTU cables. We've cleaned the PTU's contacts. We're ready to mount it in place. Usually we'd mount it over here or over here, depending on whether the wires can reach. But because we've got the stock airbox, for some reason, we're going to have to mount it just like that. It's going to be compressed, it's going to wobble about. But that means we get to do an intake on intake. So what we'll do, we'll just bang this back in place, hold it down, there's not going to go anywhere, and then we'll order some overnight parts from Japan. And intake, we're going to get some suspension stuff, and we'll get all that ready for the next episode, because apparently there's a track day coming up. So let's just get this all back together, put that intercooler pipe back in, get in the car and go for a drive and make sure it's all good. We'll wind the boost up. Talk to spec as always. Need to order those stickers. I love those noises. They're dead set the best noises you can make. The little brackets that we adapted in the radiator episode. So all I've got to... Fuck me! After I put the battery back in that I had to take out to get the hose clamp that I dropped down into the depth of the engine bay, and pretty much hated my life for a good 15 minutes there. But it's all sorted now, and I don't resent that at all. So we've just taken the car for a bit of a drive, just to check that everything's running fine. We got it on high boost. And I dare say that everything's running fucking spectacularly. Car hasn't missed a beat. Literally not missing at all. Throwing clips everywhere from the dash. Have to find that later on. Whew! No longer is that PTU unit going to get hot. Nice and cool in that cold air intake area. And very soon we'll get a new cold air intake mounted firmly in place. She'll be right as rain. But as far as this car's going in performance, I can't fault it. I think these come out with roughly 300 horsepower rated at the engine. I think they're meant to be about 330 in reality. This one here feels like it's closer to 400. Probably wrong there, but it fucking feels awesome. The intercoolers have helped. Rear tyres are really getting the traction down to the road surface. Bigger radiator, keeping it nice and cool. It's sitting, I know you can't see it, but it's sitting dead centre of the temperature gauge. I've got it set to about 14.5 PSI at the moment. And if this Hilux wasn't in front of me, I'd fucking be fanging it. All within the speed limit, of course. We'll give it one more go before we end the episode. So don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Comment below. I love the comments. Always reply back to them as much as I can. Sometimes I don't get notified. But make sure you hit that notification button next to subscribe so you get notified of when we release a new episode, when we release all other bits and pieces. Don't forget we've got that Operation Sports Wagon under production, which we're going to go back and film a new episode of right now. Because while Nick's at play trying to work out how to get his car faster, we've got to service our Subaru Outback, courtesy of Nissan Australia. So we've got to drop all the oils in that and get down and dirty with it. Maybe not too dirty. So until next time, this is Intake. Peace!